Okay, welcome everybody. I am Debbie Zimmerman. I am a Food for Life instructor, and I am certainly very, very excited that all of you are here tonight. Our topic is heart health, and I will be sharing the Food for Life heart health video with Dr. Neil Barnard. It is a super great recording, and it really is going to go into all of the food that we need to avoid or to eat to make sure that we do not have heart disease. And then after that, I am going to dive into the herbs and spices that are going to help us. And part of that is going to be I start with the botanicals and the supplements and why we should really be depending on real food, whole food. So it is going to be a jam-packed session. So with no further ado, we are going to get started on our recipes. And the very first one that we are going to do is going to be our beautiful blueberry pancakes. And I'm just turning on my skillet so it can be warming. And these are oat pancakes. And we know that oats are a viscous fiber and it helps to grab the cholesterol in your colon and send them down into the pot, the proverbial pot. So the toilet, that is. So anyway, we're starting with, and let me just digress 1 second. I don't know if your recipe is enough for 12 servings or not, but certainly you can cut this. And that's exactly what I've done because I don't have 12 people in the house. I do have four-legged animals who would probably enjoy blueberry pancakes, but I'm not exactly sure I want to feed them blueberry pancakes. So I have cut this in by a third. So I am doing 2 cups of oat flour. And you can buy a bag of oat flour very, very easily and pay for, grinding up those oats. Or you can take your oatmeal and put it into your blender. And the ratio is about, if you're looking for 2 cups, you probably want to have 2.5 cups of oats. Grind that up, and it's going to be 2 cups. Very, very easy. And most of your blenders are going to be able to accommodate that. So with this recipe, it calls for the oats, but then it also calls for rolled oats. So I have 2 cups of ground oats, and then I have a third of a cup of rolled oats in here. Very, very easy. The recipe says to put 3 tablespoons of chia seeds. So I'm doing a third of that. So I'm putting 1 tablespoon of chia seeds in here. And along with that, I am adding a tablespoon of baking powder and along with a pinch of salt. And if you know me, it is a very tiny pinch of salt. Yes. So I'm going to whirl this around. Now, before y'all came in, I took the liberty of adding to my milk. So I have 2 cups of milk, and I added lemon juice, and I also added lemon zest. And we know that that's going to curdle the milk. And that's what we want it to do. We want it to be just like buttermilk would be. So I am going to pour that into the mixture. And if you are doing a cooking demonstration, or if you're just getting your mise en place together, it's very easy to add those together, those 3 items, the zest, the milk, and the lemon juice, and just put it in 1 container. It makes it very, very easy. So I'm just going to mix this up in our bowl. And my cameraman, if he can zoom in on this. Now, another thing that you may want to do, now I'm looking at the chia seeds. You could actually grind these chia seeds, or you could use white chia seeds if you did not want them to be seen in your pancake batter. Has anybody used the white chia seeds before? You can put that in the chat. Okay, so it says vanilla non-dairy milk. And yes, I'm actually using soy non-dairy milk. Okay, so right. So we got that all mixed up. And then I am going to add, and let me back up because the person who put in there that it calls for non or vanilla, let's see, what does it call? Vanilla non-dairy milk. Yes, this is a plant-based milk, but what we're trying to do is curdle it like buttermilk would be, because it is going to help make the pancakes a much lighter. Okay, so here we go with our blueberries.
And Debbie, we had some responses on whether or not they've used the white chia. BC says they're more expensive. Kathy has used them.
Okay. And, you know, it's based on what you are trying to do. And if you really want your chia seeds to be seen, a lot of people don't care. I do like the white, and I could kick myself because I have them in the freezer and I just totally forgot about them. Okay, so I'm not sure that this is warmed up enough, but you can see that this is going to make a lot of pancakes. And when we do classes in person, Food for Life classes in person, having a lot, you know, because usually the classes are a good size. And so having a good amount of batter to make pancakes for everybody is very, very nice. But when you and your husband and your sister are the only ones who are here in the house, it does make it a little bit cumbersome. So I've said it before, anybody who's nearby, y'all just come on for supper, okay? So I am going to put those there. And I'm just going to put those to the side. And how many enjoy pancakes? Wait, love, you can put it down. How many enjoy pancakes? Aditi says yes. Nobody else?
Oh, here they come.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. So, yeah, most people enjoy pancakes. And I really think that this is one of those recipes where there's no guilt whatsoever. Now, also, while these are cooking, let me just show you what I'm doing on the back burner. Let me grab a handle. And I have blueberries boiling, and they're just boiling, and I can spoon this over and kind of make a syrup. They haven't been boiling that long, and they haven't been boiling uncovered. So as this cooks down, it's going to make, Casey, you're not on me. Okay, it's going to boil down and it's going to thicken up. Okay, so we're going to be good with that. And I'm just going to.
Wilma says that she makes a batch and after she cooks them, she freezes them.
Yes, and that is an excellent idea, is freezing them. Okay, the recipe says that you need to have a non-stick, say that real fast, a non-stick grill. And I don't have one because I don't believe they're the healthiest. So saying that, what I did on this Salad Master griddle is I put a little bit of spray on my paper towel, and then I spray, wipe the inside. And we will see if it works.
Deb, what temperature is your skillet?
I have it at 330.
Okay.
And so
You know,
far it's working, but this one wanted to tear apart. Maybe I need a bigger flipper here.
Debbie, Stephanie's asking about adding water to the blueberries.
In the back,
She said, did you add water to the blueberries?
Stephanie, that is an excellent question. And what I did is used frozen blueberries.
Oh, okay.
And I
also,
think that's a little bit easier.
there was some sauce she showed. What was that?
That was from them melting down and making their own gravy.
Oh, okay.
Because they're breaking, Casey, they're breaking down.
Deb,
Yeah.
are they sweet? Is it sweet? Do the blueberries?
I didn't add any sweetness to it. It is just
Okay.
the blueberries. And so whatever the natural sweetness is. But thinking of that, you may want to put a squirt of lemon juice in there. And it would liven it up some. Okay, so I flipped my first pancake and it's just a little bit albino. Okay. So I'm going to leave this, the other ones. Let me see if it's darkening up. It hasn't started darkening. So we're going to leave these until all of the bubbles. My grandmother used to teach me, wait until they start bubbling up and then you can flip them. And that's usually when they are brown. Okay. Any other questions? Y'all are asking excellent questions.
Well, BC was wondering about a good sausage recipe. Do you have one, Debbie, that you really like that might go with it?
No, sausage is not my cup of tea.
I think I can find one. Shane and Simple.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll pull that up. I've done that before.
Okay, good. Thanks, True. Okay, let me flip these. And you know what? They're just not browning up. So if you like really tan, okay. So this is how we do our pancakes. And as somebody said, I forget who it was, but you can really make these, and I will continue making them, but you can make these and then freeze them and have them readily available. Okay? Any questions? Okay, so I'm going to put this to the side while they continue cooking. And this should make at least 4 servings. Okay? So the next thing that we are going to do is we're going to make a luscious, and I mean luscious, white bean dip. We just had the Super Bowl, and you probably had food that you wanted or things that you wanted to serve and you wanted them to be plant-based. Well, certainly this would have been one of those recipes. And we are going to be using our food processor. I have the Cuisinart food processor, and once again, this is a large recipe. It calls for 3 cans of white beans. I only use 2 cans, so I'm cutting it down just so I don't have a lot of extra food hanging around. And I encourage you to do the same, because if you look at these recipes, you can see that they are divisible by 2, divisible by 3, and it would be very easy for you to cut them down. Okay, the next thing that I am going to be adding is my nutritional yeast, and just a couple of tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And then we have our lemon juice. And it calls for 6 tablespoons of lemon juice. and I am using 3 tablespoons there. Also, it calls for 3 tablespoons of tahini, and I'm not using tahini. Instead, I am using vegetable broth. And I do want to mention to you, because vegetable broth can be very high in sodium. So it's important that you look for unsalted vegetable broth. I have 2 different ones here. I have the Kitchen Basics, and this is unsalted, and this has 75 milligrams of sodium per cup. Your regular vegetable broth can be up to 880 milligrams of sodium. And we will be talking about sodium a little bit later, but we know that we want to restrict our sodium. And then this is the Pacific vegetable broth. It also is low sodium, and it has 120 milligrams of sodium in it. Okay. Let me just check my beautiful pancakes here. And, I'm just going to keep them cooking a little bit longer while I do this. Okay, in here, I have my garlic. I also have not tahini. I have miso paste, and I also have the maple syrup, the garlic, and also the miso. And I am going to add a little bit of black salt. If you are not familiar with black salt, this is going to give it a little bit of an egg taste, okay? So there you go, the Indian black salt. And it does have salt in it, or it is a salt. And so it will taste a little bit on the salty side. And I am going to put this on. And then turn it on. And while that is going, I will remove my pancakes.
When you substitute,
And those look really pretty, don't they? And of course, when we put our blueberries on top, it will be delicious.
Deb, Kathy's asking, do you use the same amount of vegetable broth as you would have for tahini when you subbed?
That is correct.
And I was wondering, could you use flaxseed egg instead? Have you ever done that?
Flaxseed egg in here, and to replace what, Kathy?
Tahini?
Maybe so. It would give it a little more fiber.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just going to give this another whirl. It's nice. And I use the white northern beans. They really do make a very nice spread. Okay. And so I have a really smooth dip here. I have my container to put it in. And this, if you like to have afternoon snacks, of course, this is a lot, but you can have your carrots and your celery already. Can you see that? Can y'all see that dip? There you go. So the dip is nice and smooth. And then we have our carrots, we have our celery. This could make a very delicious wrap if you want to put that on a wrap and have it so that it's more or less like a glue to hold the wrap together, packet full of shredded carrots, zucchini, and greens, and have a delicious wrap. So super, super good. Very, very easy. There was nothing hard about that. Maybe the most time consuming was getting the carrots cut up and the celery cut up. But you know what? They sell those at the grocery store already cut up. So all you have to do is have those beans and have all of these little things just ready to go, and makes an easy dip, an easy snack, and something that is going to be not only low in calories, but also very low in fat. And you'll hear how important it is to have low fat items. Also making sure that it has no saturated fat along with it.
Deb,
Okay.
can
Yeah.
you quickly review the quantities of the ingredients? Just, I think there was a question about, what you were saying matching up with what was on the paper. Does it all look pretty much the same?
So actually, 3 cans. So I used 2 cans. So I'm making two
Yeah.
thirds. And then lemon juice would have been 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. Miso, I don't like the saltiness of the miso, so I only used a teaspoon of it. But for this recipe, if you were making the same amount as I was making, you could have 4 teaspoons of miso. Once again, I don't like the saltiness of it, so I only used 1 teaspoon. The sea salt, once again, I didn't use that, but I did use just a shake of the black salt. If you've been in my classes before, you know I don't do salt, period. And so to use these black salt, I did, but anyway. So tahini, we did not do tahini, but I did 2 tablespoons of my vegetable broth. The nutritional yeast, it calls for 3 tablespoons. I use 2 tablespoons. And once again, I only use 2 cans of beans. So let me just ask you, I just want to make sure, because I am following the instructor version of this, and maybe the instructor version of this does not have or has more. Does your recipe say that it makes 12 servings?
It doesn't
Oh,
say.
so VLEN says it makes 4 servings.
Right.
It
And
depends on
Debbie,
if you're real hungry.
on the recipe that you sent out, it says 1 table of nutritional yeast.
Okay, so see, it's already cut it. And I didn't pay attention to that. I printed this out because usually they do match. But I know on the pancake, so how many on your pancake recipe, how many servings does it say it makes?
4.
4.
4. And see, mine says 12 servings. So that's why there's confusion there. Okay. I
So the
think
ingredients listed on the recipe for 4 servings is what is applicable to the recipe that you sent out to us. Okay,
that is exactly right.
super. Thank you.
Okay. And had I looked at your recipes, it would have been a different story. But there's been a lot going on. So I was just following mine to the T, except I was cutting it back because I didn't want 12 servings of white bean dip here. I hope y'all understand that. So anyway, we have the same recipe. Mine just makes a bounty of white bean dip. So anyway, I did want to taste this and just share with y'all how delicious it is. And I hope y'all have your aroma button on, because the blueberry pancakes smell very, very good. And I hope that's transpiring over to yours. Anyway, any other questions besides the quantity? And that has a very nice garlicky blend. something that I was thinking about as I was putting the mise en place together is it would have been great to have roasted garlic. It would have been delicious. So, okay, last one. And no cooking involved except for the quinoa. Is there anybody who has never made quinoa, or is there anybody who has made quinoa and did not feel it was good? Please put that in the chat box. Nothing is coming up, so everybody knows how to do quinoa. Oh, there you go. I love it. Okay, so basically quinoa is a pseudo grain. It's not necessarily a grain, but it is it has a coating on it. It's a protective coating. Saponin is the name of it. It covers the quinoa. And why it covers the quinoa is because it helps protect the quinoa against pest. So you don't want the pest to be eating your quinoa off the bush. So with that said, when we get the quinoa, we need to wash it. And you need a very fine sieve to wash it and wash it and wash it. And you want to wash it a good minute to make sure you get all of that saponin off of your quinoa because it's very bitter. That's what keeps the critters away, is that bitter taste. But that quinoa is so good for us, and it has so many protective qualities. So we do want to enjoy our quinoa. Also, in case you haven't heard, quinoa is it's the only grain that actually is a complete protein. And I know that as whole food plant-based people, we don't necessarily pay attention to protein, but there are always those people who say, where do you get your protein? And you can come back and say, do you know that quinoa is a complete protein? It's high in protein and it's very beneficial for us. So what are we putting in here? We know that we want to have a rainbow on our plate. So here we go with some carrots. Excuse me. And carrots, I am actually putting one whole carrot. It was a little bit more than a half a cup. Now, my recipe calls for 3 servings. I'm hoping your recipe calls for 3 servings as well. But a half a cup of grated carrots, and I just use the whole carrot. And then it calls for green peas or steamed snow peas. Well, I am going to add edamames because I love edamame. And then it calls for a half a cup a quarter of a cup of red bell pepper. So we're putting that in there as well. And then also some green onion. And I have that. I have a little bit of the white in there also because there was nothing I was going to do with that. And I figured that all needs to be in there, correct? And I'm going to toss this just a little bit. And look how beautiful that is. And then the next piece of this is I'm going to make our salad dressing. Now, the salad dressing is where the awesome coconut amino comes in. Now, in the salad dressing, it calls for low sodium soy sauce. And I've had this discussion before, but I want everybody to know about this. Sodium is not healthy for us, period. I believe the body needs 225 milligrams a day to function properly. 225. Most Americans get way over 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams a day. And I believe in another class we had, we actually looked up to see how much sodium was in different items. And one item had 6,700 milligrams of sodium, and that was just for one entree. So you have to be very careful, especially if you have heart disease, cardiovascular disease, or diabetes. It is recommended that you don't have more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day. Okay. As whole food plant-based people, we should strive to have as little as possible. Now, I am starting off with my orange juice, and it is going to be absolutely delicious because it was nice and fresh when I squeezed that. And then I am going to add my low sodium soy sauce. And I only put a little bit of that in here because, once again, I do not like a lot of salt. I also added my maple syrup to this, so a 1/4 teaspoon of maple syrup. And the next thing I have is my rice vinegar. And this is also an important thing because you can get 2 different types of rice vinegar. I have seasoned rice vinegar, which was bought in error, but you can see that seasoned, mild, and sweet. And guess what? 1 tablespoon has 230 milligrams of sodium. 1 tablespoon. And here we are adding 4 tablespoons of rice vinegar. Here is natural rice vinegar. Whoops, here you go. Natural rice vinegar. And natural rice vinegar has 0 sodium in it. 230 or 0. So if we're adding 4 to this, you can see we're going to have 920 milligrams of sodium in here, in addition to the sodium from the amino acids. Now, I am using the coconut amino acids, and I am going to say that 1 teaspoon has 120 milligrams of sodium. A lot of coconut aminos only have 90 milligrams of sodium. Soy sauce has 307 milligrams of sodium per teaspoon. So, a teaspoon or a tablespoon has 3 teaspoons. So you can do the math very quickly. That would be 921 per tablespoon. And our recipe calls for 4 tablespoons. No, excuse me. 4 teaspoons of low sodium soy sauce. So that would still be 1,200. Okay, so 1,228 milligrams of sodium. Reduced sodium soy sauce has 192 milligrams of sodium per teaspoon. Tamari has 330. Reduced sodium tamari has 237. Tamari light has 163. All of these are per teaspoon. Once again, coconut aminos 90 to 120. And then Bragg's liquid aminos 320 per teaspoon.
So, Deb, as a general rule, can you pretty much substitute coconut amino for all the things you just mentioned?
Yes, trooper. Yes.
Is that the same amount? Is it, 1 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon?
Yes, 1 teaspoon to teaspoon.
Right.
You can substitute that.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Excellent. Okay. So all of that is added. Now, instead of salt, which the recipe calls for 1/6 of a teaspoon, I use the same amount of Mrs. Dash and I use herbs, garlic and herbs. I also have in here garlic powder, and I'm going to add those. It calls for a grind of pepper. And I will tell you right now that in next month's class, we have a section just on pepper and how wonderful pepper is, what all it does for us. And you will not want to miss that, because I bet you never realize the health benefits pepper has. Piperine are these little seeds. But anyway, lots of health benefits. And then the very last thing we're going to add to this are toasted sesame seeds. And you can get your regular sesame seeds and toast them yourself, but I did cheat and I got the toasted sesame seeds and made it really, really easy. There we go. Okay, so toasted sesames. And I'm going to add that to our dressing. And I'm just going to, excuse me, pour this on. Make sure I get all of my seeds out, and it's the pepper that is getting me. Excuse me. Okay. Now
How much orange juice, Deb?
It is 1/4 cup of fresh orange juice.
Okay.
And I am going to show you how beautiful this is. It will last in your refrigerator 4 to 5 days. And look how delicious that is. Very, very colorful, a rainbow on your plate every day. And I was thinking of these carrots. We want 30 milligrams of beta carotene every day, and that's the equivalent of 2 carrots. So, when you are eating this beautiful dip over here, make sure you're eating at least 1 carrot, if not 2 carrots. They're very filling, but they give you that beta carotene, and that beta carotene is going to torpedo our cancer cells if we have any cancer cells. Okay, any questions? Y'all have been very quiet. I feel like sometimes I'm talking to myself, but any questions before we go to the video? Linda, Kathy, chat box questions?
Yeah, I was just looking. Deb, again, just to make sure that I understand, the coconut aminos is a good substitute for the low sodium soy sauce and the tamari sauce?
That is correct.
Okay.
I do not have soy sauce or tamari sauce. I use only coconut aminos.
Okay, great. You just want to clarify that.
Yeah, and just to make sure, it's not going to have all of the sodium. It's far less sodium. And this is heart disease. When I get into my PowerPoint presentation, you're going to see why sodium is so bad for us. Okay, but we do not want more than 1,500 milligrams, even if we don't have heart disease. If we don't have cardiovascular disease, you're going to see that right now, at least 5% of the population over 20 years old, has cardiovascular disease and do not know it. Okay? That's an ugly, actually it's 20%. 1 in 5 have cardiovascular disease 20 and above. So saying that, we have to do everything we can to make sure we do not get the cardiovascular disease. But think about the standard American diet, how bad that is for us. And we just really, really, really need to make sure that we do everything possible to avoid those cardiovascular events. Okay? Anything else before we move on to our video? Now,
Debbie, before you move, Mabel brought up a good comment. And if we have some new people today, if they want to come to more of your classes, Mabel found it on PCRM, and that's why she's here. But how do they give you their email address so you can make them aware of other ones in the future?
Well, if you signed up through Eventbrite, and Mabel, you actually, or no, it's Mabel, right?
Yeah.
Mabel, you actually contacted me, so I have your email. I will be emailing everybody afterwards with follow-up information. So you'll have my email. At the end of my PowerPoint presentation, I have the information for my class next month. Once a month, I have a free class. Next month, it's Nutrition Month, but the topic is, what if your best medicine is grown in your garden? So, and the good news is that you do not have to have any gardening skill. You don't even have to have a garden. All you have to do is have a produce stand. But I want to teach you about how wonderful all of these plants are and how they really impact every part of our body. Okay, so you're going to have that information. You can sign up, and by golly, we're here every month, and a lot of the people who are here, are here on a monthly basis, and I appreciate them. I do. So, great question. Anything else? Okay, so if you are new, just to know, this is being recorded, and the next section of this is going to be the Food for Life video with Dr. Barnard. It cannot be recorded, so I'm going to stop my recording. And I have friends who always remind me to start recording after the video, but it is after the video, okay? So this will not be part of the recording, but these recordings are available by the end of the month, and they are on my YouTube channel, okay? Great questions, and if you're new, we do appreciate you being here. Watching that, did anybody have an aha moment? And you can type it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself. And what stood out in that video with Dr. Barnard?
Yeah, I eat way too much salt. I gotta stop.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, so Aditi says exercise and stress management stood out. Yes, and Dr. Ornish really did show that in his heart reversal program. So stress management and exercise. And it wasn't a lot of exercise. It was only 30 minutes a day. Hope says 2,000 milligrams of salt a day, no more. I can't read those real fast, so if y'all have it opened.
Well, Stephanie mentioned that she didn't realize that olive oil was 14% saturated fat, and that's a aha.
Well, Stephanie, that's a great aha, because everybody thinks how beautiful olive oil is, and what they were in the studies, they were comparing olive oil to the people who were eating lard or butter. And so when you change from lard or butter to olive oil, yes, it's going to make a big improvement. But as Dr. Monica Agarwal showed last year in her study, and Monica Agarwal, if y'all do not know her, she is a cardiologist up at Shands Hospital. Well, I want to say that I believe she has changed. Kathy, is she in private practice now?
Yes.
Well, She has a private practice and she's still a professor at UF, but she's in Orlando now and she is a cardiologist and she's on the committee for the American, what is that committee, that the subcommittee that looks at nutrition for Dr. Kim Williams was president of it, that organization.
Oh, the American College of Cardiology.
Yeah, she's on the subcommittee that is looking at nutrition and heart disease. So she's a real good one to listen to. And now she's done the research too.
Correct. So, and her study showed comparing a plant-based diet, those who had olive oil to those who did not have olive oil. The ones who did not have olive oil far exceeded the ones who did have the olive oil. So, very important discovery there in her the research that she did. Okay. Anything else before we go to our PowerPoint, because we do have a lot to cover in the next hour?
So Kathy commented that, especially after your talk about substituting with amino acid, how much salt is allowed for good health. She was surprised at the amount. That's not very much.
Correct. We just have we have been conditioned, and look at processed foods. Look how much salt, how much sodium is in processed foods. It is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And Dr. Greger just came out with something to use potassium, I think it's called potassium chloride, as a salt substitute instead of the sodium chloride salt substitute. So anyway, give that a try, okay? And the only ones who would be concerned about the potassium substitute would be those who would have kidney issues and need to limit their potassium.
And Mabel said that she's got amino acids that are 530 milligrams per 1 tablespoon. And you mentioned that amino acid you have to look and pick the one that's best.
Correct. And Mabel, is it listed as a teaspoon or a tablespoon? Because these are listed as a teaspoon, so you'd have to multiply it by 3 to get the tablespoon if it's done by a tablespoon. Oh, and that's ml. And I'm not going to be able to help you on that right now. I have to do that calculation away from the computer. Okay, we're going to get started, folks, because we have a lot to share, and I know you are going to enjoy this. Herbs and spices for heart health. And I want to say food first, because when we think about herbs and spices, we have to think about the food first. No substitutes. This presentation, of course, Dr. Barnard is extremely well educated, but this is still an educational presentation. This is not meant to be medical advice or a substitution for your professional healthcare services, okay? This is something that is to advise you, and you can talk to your healthcare professional about it. So this is our test, and I sent this test out to everybody. And so this is audience participation, so please unmute yourself or put it in the chat box. But Dr. Dean Ornish's program to reverse moderate to severe heart disease consists of the following 4 lifestyle modifications. Check these out. Which one do you think it is? And you
D. C.
Okay, we have a B and we have a C. Okay, on B it says 1 hour run each day. And I'm not sure that would be easily attained for some people. So it is C. Next one, artery blockages can break open and trigger clots. clots can occur in the following arteries?
D.
D.
D. D.
Okay, I know there's a lot more than 5 people on board, but I don't.
D.
D, okay, D is the answer there. In addition to minimizing fat and cholesterol to protect arteries, the following should also be minimized.
B.
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 Yes, you don't want to minimize exercise, do you, Hope?
You're busting somebody.
Just threw her under the bus.
Yes.
Okay.
But you can do that to your sister.
Yeah, if she's sitting right here next to me. Blood pressure can be reduced by what? Hope, turn your volume off.
B.
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 B. B.
Okay, and it is B. Our last question is type 2 diabetes threatens the heart and is a condition where?
C.
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 Y'all check them out.
C.
C.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some say B, some say C.
And our
And
cats getting lots of C's too. So
okay, so that, any questions on that? So that concludes our video presentation with Dr. Barnard. Those are the questions, the normal Food for Life questions. And this is where I go a little bit off the beaten path, but I want to make sure I answer any questions about that video. Any questions coming up in the chat box, Kathy or Linda?
Nope, just responding to the quiz.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, so let's start. Once again, this is the herbs and spices portion of this. We just heard from Dr. Barnard about saturated fat, how we should eliminate saturated fat, and how we really should keep all other fats very, very low. Correct?
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that we eliminate foods that have cholesterol. And we know that cholesterol is in all animal products. Our plants don't have cholesterol, but our plants can have saturated fat. And we know that is going to be found in coconuts. We also know that our olives can have some saturated fat in there, and our avocados may have some. And I really can't say how much saturated fat would be in avocados because I really don't eat them, so I'm not looking at that, but they are high in fat. So once again, this portion is aiming to educate and to inform you. It is not supposed to be medical advice or a substitution for your professional healthcare services. We started with this, I kind of mentioned it in earlier, but 1 in 3 deaths in the United States are due to cardiovascular disease. Every 34 seconds, somebody in the United States dies from cardiovascular disease. That is 212 deaths over a 2-hour period. And that's where we are right now. We're going to be spending 2 hours together. This is not supposed to be a fear tactic. I'm just telling you what the facts are here in the United States because of our standard American diet. It's very, very sad. And that's what it stands for, Standard American Diet, the SAD acronym. But 1 in 20 adults, that's 5%. So I said that wrong, but 1 in 20 adults, 5%, age 20 and above, already have coronary artery diseases. And Dr. Esselstyn speaks, if you've listened to him, he talks about when he was in service and they were doing autopsies on these young Army people who had died, and they were finding that they already had coronary artery disease already established. Okay, so hypertension, we know hypertension is called the silent killer because there are no signs and symptoms of hypertension. Almost 50% of adults have hypertension, and over 40% do not realize that they have hypertension. So when we look at that, we really have to be aware what in the world is going on. This is the progression of heart disease. We start with high blood pressure and an elevated cholesterol, which really we can't tell either of those. If we're standing here, I'm standing here, you can't tell if I have high blood pressure. You can't tell if I have high cholesterol. So these heart disease actually starts very silently in our life, but over time, stress begins to play havoc on the arteries. And the stress triggers chronic inflammation. And we know from previous classes that chronic inflammation leads to disease. And in this case, for heart disease, it progresses from vessel damage into impaired blood flow due to endothelial dysfunction. I'm going to say that Dr. Esselstyn really wants us to be eating 6 servings of greens a day to protect our endothelium. And that's the lining of our arteries, the blood vessels. So 6 servings, because that the nitric oxide that is produced from those greens, it doesn't last that long. Your body gets it and then it dies or it evaporates. So we have to have a steady supply of it. That's why greens are so important in our diet. But that endothelial dysfunction leads to plaque and blockages. And you heard Dr. Barnard say it can break off and it can cause heart attack and stroke. You know, we have heard this, we've seen this: let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. This is timeless these days, and it's no longer philosophical. It is evidence-based. Modern research shows that foods we eat every single day influence inflammation, blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, and even the function of our blood vessels. Whole, minimally processed plant foods provide fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals or phytonutrients that work together to prevent and, in many cases, reverse a lot of diseases, just as Dr. Esselstyn and Dr. Ornish showed in their heart disease reversal research. Food as medicine does not mean replacing your medical doctor or your medical care with food. It means addressing the root cause of disease. Dr. Barnard mentioned in his video that the root cause of diabetes was not a lack of insulin. It was too much fat in the cells, and the fat in the cells would not allow the insulin to penetrate into the cell. So the root cause was the fat, and we have to get the fat out of our cells. So when food choices improve the body's internal environment, improves, the medications almost become not necessary, or we have to reduce the amount of them, and our health becomes more resilient. And if there's anything we want, is for our health to be resilient. So Hippocrates' wisdom, which was 2,500 years ago, reminds us that the most powerful medicine is what we eat every day at every meal. So I first want to look here at supplements. and I'm not promoting supplements, okay? Just want to get that perfectly clear. I'm not promoting them. I'm probably going to discourage them. So if you are somebody who is taking those supplements, I want you to think twice, okay? We have found in our quest to become as healthy as possible that, you know, a pill may be a little bit faster and a little bit more convenient for us. A pill is certainly easier to take than changing a habit or forming a new habit, which would be very much like exercising on a daily basis, 30 minutes a day. But when it comes to heart health and all overall wellness, supplements rarely replicate the power of whole foods. Okay, so you see here that dietary supplements, almost 60% of adults take dietary supplements. And botanicals show up quite often as the supplement of choice. Can anybody name a few botanical supplements that are out there that you've heard touting for heart health? Can you put it in the chat box or say it out loud? Nothing? I hear crickets.
When Melanie mentioned turmeric,
Turmeric, okay.
Q10, CoQ10,
OQ10.
beet powder,
What was that?
beet powder.
Oh, beet. Okay. Okay, so those are some good examples. So some supplements that we see garlic, and that has been shown, and this is the supplement. Okay, this is the supplement, but garlic has been shown to reduce your blood, your diastolic by about 4 points. Okay, and systolic is about 4 points, and like slightly above 3 for diastolic. And hibiscus has been shown to actually double that a little bit on the, and this is extract, okay? These are a few others: red yeast rice, green tea extract, and berberine. So all of these have been shown to have some type of effect on your heart. You know, this one is cholesterol related. However,
Debbie, while you're getting a sip of water, what is on your previous screen? What is that first one or second one? Red yeast rice. What is that?
that is actually a supplement, and that's what it's called. And that has been shown to reduce LDL cholesterol. And a lot of times doctors will recommend a red yeast extract or red yeast, and I think it's a pill, a supplement. They will recommend the red yeast as a precursor before going on a statin drug, because it's going to help reduce your LDL cholesterol. And it has been shown to reduce it about 1 point. So it is, you know, it does show, but we know that there are so many other things that we can do to reduce our LDL cholesterol. So many other things. So
thank you.
Great question there. Anybody else? Okay. So with this said, we know that unfortunately, we have seen a lot of warnings. So most of these supplements have also shown up in the emergency room, because we know if one is recommended, three of them may be better, right? And we also don't know for sure what's in those supplements. US does not have an FDA for supplements. So I can start a supplement business today, not knowing anything about it, but I can put a label on it and I can say, this is what you are buying, and I can be a good marketer and sell it to everybody. But that is not what is happening, or that is what's happening. And unfortunately, it is very, very costly to see this happen. Okay, so it is a very pricey experiment to do these supplements. If your doctor has recommended it, I'm not going to say not to do it, but just realize that when we're looking at green tea extract, it's a whole lot different than green tea. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you that we should be consuming green tea to the tune of about 3 cups a day, or that is what we have seen recommended, but it's not a green tea extract. Turmeric is recommended, but high dose supplements are not recommended. Okay, so these are your high liver injury supplements. So I'm just giving you a caution, a warning on these. So food first, what can we do? We can look at how we can get these things naturally. Garlic. I have talked before about the allium in garlic. We know that it lowers blood pressure. It also reduces our LDL cholesterol. It's not going to be a super great one like a statin may do, but it's going to be beneficial, and it's also going to improve your endothelium function. Ginger, it improves our lipids. It's also anti-inflammatory. And on that progression of heart disease, we saw that inflammation was the number 2 box. We don't want to go into inflammation. It's also an antioxidant, so it's going to help fight free radicals. Cinnamon is also an antioxidant. We know that it's going to help stabilize our blood pressure. When we are talking to people who have diabetes, we are always recommending that they add cinnamon to their food. It is going to make it very delicious, but it's going to really help with the glucose and also our blood pressure. Hibiscus tea. I'm actually drinking hibiscus tea because Dr. Greger says to drink hibiscus tea. It is not an extract, though, because you can buy hibiscus extract at a health food store. Dr. Greger promotes it for your blood pressure. And it says here that it is similar to an ACE inhibitor. So ACE inhibitors are going to help reduce your blood pressure. And so hibiscus tea is going to do that too, but it's going to be very subtle. It's also an antioxidant, and it has anti-inflammatory properties. Hold on,
Debbie, one thing that you might want to clarify is, as you said, supplements, and Matt, we appreciate you asking this question. He was asking, how much garlic should I take a week? And you're talking about not taking it, but making it part of the diet. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. So, Matt, I'm talking about, just like we added it to our meal to our white dip, You'll see me adding garlic almost to any heated food. And where it calls for 1 or 2 pods, I may put 4 to 5 pods, to build that taste up. Yeah.
I think that was a really good comment by Matt, because it's a different way of thinking about these things, isn't it, Debbie?
Correct. Yeah. We want to do the food first. And that's why we have that here. So we still want the herbs, but we want the herbs in the form of food or spices. And, botanicals, your hibiscus tea, and I'm talking about hibiscus tea in a tea bag. So brewing that in the morning and enjoying that throughout the day. Okay, great question. And once again, why is this not moving forward? Okay, there we go. So turmeric, then the active ingredient in turmeric is curcumin. So having the turmeric as a food, you've got the turmeric root, grating that up, using that. You can use turmeric powder, but actually having the turmeric pill, be careful. That is a supplement. Once again, on the supplements, we're not 100% sure what's going in that pill. And I will say, I'm not 100% positive about the powder. I still use it. I tried to get a good source of it. And because it is an anti-inflammatory, it's going to improve our endothelium, and it's modestly going to improve our lipids. And next month, you're going to hear how putting turmeric and black pepper together is going to really kick up that curcumin by 2,000%. Just incredible. Green tea, it is very powerful. And when we consume it on a regular basis, it's going to really act on reducing our cholesterol. It's also very protective for breast cancer patients. So it is something that we want to use. It is a great antioxidant. But the green tea extract, the concentrated form of it, is what we're trying to avoid.
Deb, one question about the garlic. Is it better to saute it, or is raw garlic, of the two, which one would you recommend?
Well, it's really based on what you want it to be. Okay. And what you want to do is to cut your garlic and let it rest for 10 minutes. The allicin, which is the active ingredient in there, is activated about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes after you cut it. That is the same thing with onions. They're both in the allium family. So the allicin is the active ingredient. It's not only good for your cholesterol, it's also very, very good, as a cancer fighter. It's an antioxidant, so it's going to target those cancer cells. So for both of those, you want to cut them and just let them rest for 5 to 10 minutes. I always do 10 minutes. I usually do more because I'm preparing them for a cooking presentation. But 10 minutes, and then put them in your salad or put them in your cooked. I have not read on garlic either way that one is better than the other. The only thing that I do recommend is that you don't do high heat. And with garlic specifically, you never want to burn it, because it's going to make whatever you have really nasty. Okay, I hope I covered that. And if I didn't, put it in the chat box or ask again. Okay, berberine. In Dr. Greger's new book, How to Lower Cholesterol Naturally with Food, he talks about barberries. And he specifically says that we should have 2 tablespoons of dried barberries a day. put them in your smoothie, put them in your oatmeal. He said they are tart. And I read something earlier that they are a little citrusy and can be tart. But anyway, those are going to help you lower your LDL cholesterol and your triglycerides. It's also going to improve your insulin sensitivity. Why not give it a try?
And where can you get that? Have you found it yet?
I haven't found it because I just got my book yesterday. I wanted to make sure that I was, here for y'all. But anyway, I would only assume Amazon would have all of that. So, but I have not looked it up, and I'm trying to restrain from Amazon. So they're not here every day, but maybe just 2 or 3 times a week. Anyway, so
And you're
red,
right.
red,
Shelley and Kathy say it's on Amazon.
it's on Amazon. Okay. So red yeast, once again, cholesterol. Herbs work best as part of a whole food, plant forward lifestyle. It's got to be food first. Don't take the pills unless your doctor tells you to. Food first uses it where the strongest safety records live. Okay. So the food is much better. So this is kind of a summary. If you want to improve our blood pressure, the garlic is going to improve the nitric oxide availability, reducing the blood pressure. Turmeric, curcumin reduces the vascular inflammation. Ginger improves the circulation, and cinnamon may modestly reduce systolic blood pressure. Lower cholesterol. Garlic is going to reduce the cholesterol and LDL. And Kathy, can you let her in? Every time I move my thing, it doesn't want it. Okay. Turmeric may limit LDL oxidation, a key step in plaque formation. So that's good. Cinnamon supports cholesterol balance. And fenugreek is a fiber rich. It helps reduce cholesterol absorption. And years ago, I remember Dr. Greger saying that if you consume fenugreek on a regular basis, your armpits may smell like maple syrup. I've never eaten fenugreek on a regular basis, so I can't say what my armpits smell like. Okay. Anyway, there we have fenugreek again for blood sugar control. And it improves glucose absorption. Cinnamon improves the insulin sensitivity, and ginger improves post-meal glucose response. Replace salt without sacrificing flavor. The flavor complexity reduces dependence on salt. Y'all all know that I'm going to ask you to complete the class survey. I have taken a lot of time and making 2 different things: flavor without salt, all of these different recipes, and then on the back, different recipes, and then these salt substitutes you'll see coming up. They will also be available. So you will get those only if you complete the class survey and send me the thank you. So anyway, we want to be able to meet our blood pressure targets without bland foods. So once again, while herbs and spices are generally very safe when used in culinary amounts, there are some important cautions, especially with supplements. Supplements may deliver 10 to 50 times higher doses than we are familiar with in our culinary program or our foods. And high doses can interact with medication or stress the liver. The liver is our filtering system, and it can become toxic with a lot of these supplements. Okay, so Cinnamon, we really want to use the Ceylon cinnamon. You want to be cautious about spicy and pungent herbs because they can cause some issues. And it's not necessarily that they're causing them, but they're maybe aggravating those, such as GERD, IBS, and gastritis. You don't want to have like a lot of pepper or a lot of smoky paprika if you have an active case of gastritis. So these are blood pressure medications that are lowering the garlic, ginger, and turmeric. And this is very small. It's very, very busy, but these are herbs that I will tell you, for example, allspice, putting it in soup, stews, and desserts. Salt swap tips shows how to use these in different foods. So once again, this is going to be a handout for you when you complete the class survey. And you have all of these different herbs and spices and how to use them. So we're not going to go through them on just because of time. Okay. Rosemary. Okay, so in a great summary here, we do have a very big problem with heart disease. What can we do to protect ourselves? Add more fruits and vegetables to our meal. We know, or you should know, that you should be consuming 8 to 10 fruits and vegetables a day. The more, the better, period. The more, the better. You want to have a lot of green leafies in those vegetables. The more, the better. And have them throughout the day, because remember, when you're chewing those green leafies, the nitric oxide that is produced, it doesn't last that long, folks. So we have to have those green leafies throughout the day. Choose organic or locally sourced. Organic is going to be much higher. If you can't do organic, that's okay. Wash them really well. Explore plant-based protein alternatives. Know that somebody is going to say to you, but where do you get your protein? And I want you to say, hey, all plants have protein, but this is how I get most of my protein. And try seasonal and eco-friendly food options. Okay, folks, there we go. Your first class survey button. You can take a picture of that and you can complete the survey. It's only going to take a couple of minutes to complete it, but that is the survey. I will be sending that out to you again and my follow-up email. And once again, at the end of the survey, it's going to say thank you. And all you have to do is forward that thank you to me, and I will put you on the list. What I try to do is get as many people the first day and send it out, and then we do it on a daily basis, okay? These are some of the handouts that you are going to be receiving. I showed you the flavor without salt, the flavor without salt recipes. And then you will also be getting the Heart and Soul, which is by the American College of Cardiology, a cookbook that they put together. And of course, this is an electronic cookbook. I could never afford to send those out via mail. Now, you do not want to miss this, folks. And this is next week, next Friday, not this one, the 14th or the 13th, but the following Friday. Urinary incontinence. What in the world do we do next when Kegels fail us? This is going to be an excellent presentation. Eileen is going to, and you may have seen Eileen on Chef AJ, but she is going to do an excellent job telling us all about urinary incontinence and what we do to prevent it. Oh, and let me just go back. Right there is the QR code to register for that class, and you don't want to miss it. Then next month, a month from today, actually 4 weeks from today, I'm going to have my next class. What if your best medicine grew in your garden? And once again, we're going to be hitting all of the major parts of our body, from heart health to gut health to inflammation, brain and immunity. You're going to get it all. And it is March 10th. That is the QR code to register. And if you are in Florida, if you are in the Central Florida area, we have two giant speakers coming. Dr. Neil Barnard will be here in person with Dr. Shazam Joshi. And this is a free event here in Polk County, brought to you by Florida Kale Blazers. And many of us on this call are with the Florida Kale Blazers. But it is going to be Friday, April 17th from 4:30 to 7. It will be wonderful. We will have food samples. We will also have me doing a cooking demonstration of the food that you're going to be served. And it's your kidneys, your blood sugar, and your plate. How do these make a big difference in making you healthy? We want you to be there or be square. If you live up north, April is a beautiful time to come visit, okay? Beautiful, beautiful time to see Florida. Now, any questions? And I'm going to stop sharing. That was a lot. Any questions that you have?
I have a question.
Okay.
I put it in chat. I don't know if it was seen or not, but when you talked about the carrots eating, and this is going way back, if you talked about eating 2 carrots a day, is that cooked or raw, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But you do on carrots, because the beta carotene can be lost in water. If you're using them, don't smother them in water. And why I say that is a lot of people will cut up their carrots and cover them in water. And you can't do that, because when you pour off that water, you're going to see that it is orange, and you're leaching beta carotene into your water unless you're drinking that. For example, if you're making a pot of soup and you put the carrots in there, you're going to be eating that, drinking that broth along with everything. But with carrots, you just have to be very, very careful, because they can lose that. So I would say use as little water as possible if you're cooking them. But they are very good raw.
What about with steaming then? Would that be the best?
Yes, just steam them on low. Yeah. Great question.
Thank you.
I have a question. This is Mary. What's the possibility of getting a copy of this recording? It was so fantastic, and just my head is swimming with all the information, but it was just one of the most valuable classes I've taken in a long time.
Okay, well, I appreciate you saying that, because as I said, it took a lot to put it together.
I can tell. That's a lot of work.
But to get a copy of that, it's going to be on my YouTube channel. And it will probably, of course, I have to cut out the video that was in there, because that wasn't supposed to be recorded. But anyway, it will be within the 2 to 3 weeks of that.
Okay, thank you. That's great.
We will, so my business is PhytoFit.
Okay.
And Phyto, everybody's wonders what it is, of course, is plant. So it's Plant Fit Life. So that's what my business is called, Plant Fit Life. And so it is the PhytoFit web YouTube site. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Actually, one other thing I was trying to get screenshots of those classes, and I didn't get the one that was, I got yours and the one with Dr. Barnard, but the one just before the third to the last one, it was something else. You said get a screenshot. Is it possible to get that again?
Yes.
Thank
Kathy,
you.
do you want to put that up?
I put them I put links to the Eventbrite for all of them in the chat.
Okay.
So, Linda, do you want to tell the group about how to save the chat?
Yeah. If you look at your chat box,
Okay.
now I'm on a PC, so I'm looking for three like periods or dots, and it may be at the bottom of your screen or it may be at the top of the chat box. So just click on that and you will see the first choice on that menu is to save the chat. So you can click save the chat, and then you have everything that we talked about in the chat box tonight, all the links and everything you need.
Okay, I'm on an iPad and it just says show chat previews. When I click the three little dots.
Can y'all see this on the screen?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. That's it. Let me just get that right now. Thank you so much.
And Debbie, why don't we put in the follow-up newsletter the links to all the things you just showed?
And I will do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Deb.
Yeah, because there was a lot.
And also we might need to put the link to the survey, which you are.
Yeah.
Deb, I was halfway through the survey and you put another opportunity to click on it, and I lost what I had done on the survey. That's the technology dinosaur here.
Yeah, well, I'm learning the hard way, so I can relate to that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
Are we going to get this? I tried to do it and then it disappeared. Are we going to get the survey in the email? Will we get the survey?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
Yes, you will. Because I beg people to fill that out because I have to have so many of them so I don't have to pay for my license fee for Food for Life. So I want to make sure everybody, does the class survey. Plus, I don't see what you say, but I do get an aggregate report of what you want to know, like what classes would you like to see more of? Do you want to see herbs and spices? And I did this because people have said they want to know more about herbs and spices. Okay. So, and then we had one on how to meal plan. And that's because people wanted to know how to do that. We had one on going out to restaurants because that's what people wanted to know. So I want to know what y'all want me to teach you. Okay.
I didn't know how much I needed herbs and spices until you did it tonight. It was much. I learned so much. So
well, as I said, don't miss next month because it's going to be an extension of this. Okay. But it's going to be on food, more food.
Thank you.
Anything else? Y'all have been a great group.
Oh, this has been wonderful.
Good.
And I've never seen that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just to say good class, Deb.
Thanks, True. Okay. So
somebody is asking about whether or not prior classes are on your YouTube channel.
Not all of them are on YouTube, but we do have several of them on YouTube. And V Lynn is actually my YouTuber. So V Lynn, how many do you think is out there? About 8?
There are 10 out there. There's 10 out there.
Yes. So and I will send you that link. How does that sound?
Well, the link to your YouTube channel is in the chat.
Okay, great.
And there is a playlist, Food for Life classes playlist. So if you go to that, you'll see all of the videos, the recordings from the Food for Life and the PhytoFit classes.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, if there's not, I'm going to take myself off spotlight. And anything, anybody want to say anything? I know we got some new people here, and I really do appreciate you being here. So I'm going to stop. Well, I'm not going to stop recording, because if you want to say something, it may be something that everybody else wants to hear.
Well, Debbie, there sure were a lot of positive things in the chat box.
Okay, you know what? I am just going to pull my sister over here. So Hope, do you want to come over here? Usually you see her in the Hollywood squares here, but she is, and I know she will not. I'm going to spotlight us. So this is my sister Hope from North Carolina. And
I hope.
hey, y'all. So tell them what milestone you hit last week.
I've officially lost 90 pounds.
Oh my
Whoa, way to go. Oh,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Plant-based,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. That's what did it, because nothing else has ever. I've been doing this 4 years or 5 years, and this is the longest I've ever maintained a diet, because it's not a diet. I've actually just changed the way I eat. Yeah, my lifestyle. I have a coach.
Yay.
How many
Aren't you
times
lucky?
have I fired you?
Well, we're not going to go there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's good. I'm very happy, and it's taken me a while to say I don't crave anything anymore.
Wish I could say that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Yes. So anyway, so Hope is down. She's staying a month, and you know,
Oh,
her first year being actually within the first 3 months, she came here for a week for boot camp, and she left 5 pounds lighter, and she whined the whole time, but no longer does she whine. And today we took a walk,
And
and
I was walking faster.
yes,
Whoa.
Ah.
But I was walking faster.
anyway. So folks, thank you for joining us. Any other comments? I'm going to take the spotlight off of us again, but
This was just amazing. I've been to a lot of your classes, and this just was tops. And they're all very good. So thank you.
thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. I really do. So,
Thank
okay.
you.
I hope to see all of y'all next month. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
thanks, Debbie. Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
Karen.
Great class. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Debbie. It was nice meeting you in Publix.
Yeah, yes, it was fast.
Thank you, Debbie.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.